Hello everybody, welcome to another chart interpretation, exploring the power of Horary Astrology in medical matters. This time we're going to look at a real case of humoral diagnosis. In traditional medicine, in humoral medicine, the cause of illness is attributed to an imbalance in the elements. So we're going to be using Horary to determine that imbalance. This is a technique that produces a similar output as pulse diagnosis in Eastern medicine. It can be applied to any living organism, a plant, a person, an animal. This technique first appeared in known literature in Christian astrology by William Lilly in the 17th century. It is quite buried in the text. Most of our contemporary astrologers do not use this technique, but it's a very important technique, and we have to thank John Frawley for bringing it into light. He uncovered the technique from Christian astrology, put it to the test, and passed it on. So now we have a very accurate method of humoral diagnosis using Horary. Armed with humoral diagnosis, a competent healer can devise a treatment plan to restore balance and treat the symptoms. This has no direct connection to assessing the birth temperament of a person. The birth temperament is what we're born with. Sometimes there is an imbalance, and often that imbalance from our birth plays out in our lives. But in order to diagnose or determine what's happening presently in our lives, we need Horary. We cannot do that using a birth chart. The querent in this chart is asking about the health condition of his partner's daughter. She has been exhibiting extreme mental issues, OCD, paranoia, fear, anger, and suicidal thoughts. So he asked the question, what is wrong with her? How can we help her? The technique we're going to be using is simple and straightforward. There are several exceptional cases, which we will not cover in this video, but what we're going to see today applies to 90+% of the cases. So let's see how the chart describes her situation and what it can offer in terms of information about what can be done to help her, which is what the querent wanted to know.
The quesited is signified by the ruler of the turned 5th house from the 7th house, the partner's daughter. So she is signified by Venus. Venus is in Gemini. Its dispositor, Mercury, gives us two crucial pieces of information. It shows us the type of humoral imbalance that is the cause of her symptoms, along with its degree and mode, and it shows us the main organ or system that is afflicted. Venus itself tells us that her Venus function is off balance too. Mercury, being at 0 degrees of Leo, tells us that she has an excess of heat of 1st degree and dryness of 2nd degree, out of 4 degrees. The excess is fixed, as Leo is a fixed sign, meaning that it is a problem that is ingrained and difficult to alter, therefore requires correct knowledge and persistent treatment to change and heal. This is not a condition that will go away easily or that one medicine or one treatment modality alone can heal. The information about the imbalance degree comes from the 17th century medical astrologer Richard Saunders' book, The Astrological Judgment and Practice of Physic. The 4 degrees correspond to the 4 degrees of the elements in Unani Tib medicine. Her excess of fire has caused her Mercury and Venus functions to misbehave. In concrete terms, the chart is literally saying that she has too much fire stuck in her mind and nervous system. Also, Venus issues would need attention, female hormones, for example. The Horary chart also gives us a wealth of information about her condition that is relevant and must be addressed in a successful treatment. We have various testimonies painting the picture of all of the relevant factors in her condition. Neptune is on the radical 4th cusp, hinting at congenital issues inherited from the family. Jupiter, the house 4 ruler, squares the 4th cusp, emphasizing Neptune's testimony. Additionally, we have Saturn closely sextiling the 4th cusp, effectively linking Saturn to Jupiter and her house 6. Adding to the picture, we have the same planets aspecting her turned 12th cusp, which house Mercury rules. We will see what all this means shortly. If there is any doubt about analyzing House 12, in this case look no further than the context itself. Depression, suicidal thoughts, OCD. At this point, we know that her illness or symptoms are linked to her self-undoing, and vice versa. Venus's last aspect was a sextile with the moon. The moon's last aspect shows a major influence on her symptoms. The moon is her medication as it rules the turned 10th house from the 11th. The moon is essentially debilitated, peregrine, and looking at the table of essential dignities, we will see that the moon in Aries is in Venus's detriment. The medication she is taking is weak and is harming her. She must discuss and pursue alternatives with her doctor. Look at her turned house 10. The sun, the natural ruler of her central nervous system, is inside the cusp. Mercury is in that house and is ruled by the sun. Venus is not far from the sun's antecession. This is sharply descriptive of the nature of her medication and her condition. What could Mars be? Mars rules the turned house too, so it signifies her diet. I was told she eats wasabi by the spoon, a super hot Japanese spice. That debilitated Mars afflicts her medication. The antidepressant sedates her and the wasabi gives her a kick of fire. They pull in opposite directions. Mars and Titian opposes her turned third cusp, thus afflicting it, which brings us back to Jupiter. What else could Jupiter stand for? I was told she sits and watches television all day. Jupiter is the ruler of her turned third house. That is her daily routine, her lifestyle, and therefore her exercise regimen. Jupiter is retrograde. If we look at the table of essential dignities again, we will see that Jupiter in Sagittarius is in Mercury's detriment, so it harms her nerves. And Venus in Gemini is in Jupiter's detriment. That tells us she does not like or simply neglects exercising. Well, a sedentary lifestyle is bad for anyone, even for those who have no humoral imbalance. What do we expect a lack of physical exercise will do to somebody who has too much fire? It will break one's nervous system apart to begin with and cascade into other problems from there. Bursts of anger, OCD, paranoia, and suicidal thoughts sound about right to me. The planetary aspects activating House 12 are more than corroborated by now. And in case anyone missed it, both Jupiter and Saturn aspect her ascendant at 18 Libra. We have an eloquent web of connections, giving us a snapshot of all of the relevant factors in her condition. Just imagine what a good healer can do with a tool such as Horary to diagnose and describe the situation. This is literally a gift from above. There is more. Is this person having fun? She certainly isn't. Is fun important in her condition? Of course it is. If you have fun, you don't think about killing yourself. Make sure that the cutlery is all perfectly aligned as a matter of life and death, or lash out at people. So we have enough evidence suggesting that Saturn on the South Node can be taken as the ruler of her House 5 here. Venus, as the natural ruler of pleasure and all things female, is not fulfilled due to Mercury's imbalance. The fire must go somewhere, and where there is a weakness, it causes that organ or system to break. In her case, her mind and nervous system, Mercury. So, what to do? Well, the astrology part is done. Now we reach for a bottle of the oldest medicine there is, common sense. Humoral medicine is not complicated medicine. I trust that it is easy for you to understand her symptoms and how they relate to the excess of fire. She is a sitting volcano, so what to do is rather simple. I do not mean to say that more severe interventions are not needed. Perhaps there is a congenital component that will not be found. Remember Neptune? However, addressing the basics of the humoral imbalance shown by the Humoral Diagnosis goes a long way in improving one's life quality and must be covered. The foundation is the elements or humors. By addressing the excess of fire, We will enable her body and mind to de-stress. From there, even if she continues on antidepressants, she can begin improving different aspects of her life, which can open new doors for her. Here are some recommendations. Keep in mind that these are general recommendations in order to illustrate a point. The actual recommendations would have to be based on a careful analysis of the person in question. Common sense is key. Some form of exercise is beneficial in removing fire from her system. Run, ride a bicycle, or better yet, row or swim. Be near the water, which is the opposite of fire, and will cool and moisturize her body, nervous system, and mind. Maybe she will even meet her future boyfriend at the club or gym. On TV, she is sure not to. Do not spend too much time in the sun, especially when exercising, as that will increase fire and exacerbate the symptoms. Exercise sessions must be intense, but short. This works through the principle of sympathy. Eliminate fire with fire. Short exercise sessions or short sauna sessions increase heat rapidly and eliminate it rapidly too. Do not do long sessions as they will increase heat without eliminating enough. Remove heating and drying foods from her diet. No hot spices like wasabi, peppers, chili, garlic, ginger, or peppermint. Minimize drying foods like pasta, potatoes, and most wheat products. Add cooling and moisturizing foods like watermelon, chamomile tea, mangoes, salads, and cucumber. Practice short sessions of fiery or martial activities, archery, martial arts, sexual activity of some kind. These are examples of removing fire with fire. It has to be short. Again, prolonged heating activities are harmful. It stands to reason that suicidal thoughts refer to a condition of deep lack of satisfaction or enjoyment. Pleasure is important. It has to be introduced and managed wisely, probably with professional help. Psychotherapy is a given in her condition. It is important to expose oneself and discuss one's inner world with a professional, mature, and experienced human being, or else House 12 takes over completely and remains in charge ad infinitum. Since we are dealing with the mind and fire, creative activity would be beneficial. Dancing, singing, drumming. Sedation will not heal her, but will cool down some of her symptoms. However, one of the common side effects of some antidepressants is suicidal thoughts. It would be a good idea to consult an Ayurvedic, Chinese medicine, or Unani tip doctor to find a suitable alternative to her medication. Here is a cherry on the cake in this Horary. Venus is on the star Bellatrix, the female warrior. Finding something healthy or noble to fight for could be beneficial. There we have it, a number of common sense measures based on a simple piece of information, fire. If she can try some of the recommendations for long enough, they will more than likely alleviate her symptoms and create some space for healing and a better quality of life.
If you're interested in learning and practicing medical astrology, including the humoral diagnosis technique described in this video, visit my website for more information on the courses, webinars, and mentoring sessions that I offer. If you found this video to be valuable, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to this channel. Your support is much needed and appreciated. Thank you for stopping by.